as the saying goes, all roads lead to Rome. So this is comprehension is Rome, for reading education. For the past several 2 Saturdays, you have been journeying across two important components of literacy. You began with the word level, thinking about how do you understand how children learn how to read words, and then you understand the prerequisite and the foundational skills that will allow children to be able to read words with accuracy and automaticity. And then you went into putting that together into vocabulary, processing words at the level of meaning, and then processing text, reading connected text, again with accuracy, with automaticity, and with meaning. So today we will begin deepening our understanding of reading comprehension and ending with getting a handle on how do we help children understand. So you will hear the word comprehension and understand many times throughout this hour that we are going to talk about the reading comprehension processes, and then we will end with how do we ask questions. So, pero mga kakolab, wag muna tayong kabahan, no? Wag muna tayong kabahan na mukhang mabigat itong pag-uusapan natin. Sa totoo, hindi siya ganun kabigat at hindi siya ganun ka-foreign sa buhay natin bilang mga individual, bilang mga tao. Kasi lagi natin ginagawa ito, no? Lagi natin ginagawa ito sa pang-araw-araw na buhay. Kapag tayo nakikipag-usap, ang gusto natin mangyari ay maintindihan kung ano ang sinasabi sa atin. At kung tayo ay may sasabihin bilang tugon dun sa taong kumakausap sa atin, ang gusto natin ay maintindihan. So ang buong buhay natin ay proseso ng pag-unawa at pagproseso na tayo ay maunawaan. So dadalhin lang natin yung mga kaisipan na yon ito sa isa sa pinakamalaking hamon bilang mga guro sa Pilipinas, na maitaas natin ang kakayahan ng mga bata na sila ay makaintindi. It is everybody's job to help all our learners achieve the highest level of comprehension for themselves, not because we want to score high in international exams, no, not because we want to prove something to the world. We want all our learners to reach the highest level of comprehension because it will improve their lives, not in the future, but beginning now. So it is very important, but I am assuring you it's something that we can do, especially if we work together. Before we begin our complete, as much as we can, our complete understanding of reading comprehension, let's have this question, which is a question that is asked of us as teachers, asked of us as school administrators, and asked of us as educational leaders. Why are our students having such difficulty reading texts? Think about it, and think about it deeply, based on your experience as a teacher and also as a learner. As you observe your pupils or your students or even your own children, and the children around you, why is it that they're having such difficulty reading texts? And then if you have thoughts, it will be good to share.
Ayan, Teacher Vic, meron po tayong mga answers dito mula sa ating mga kakolab. Sabi po, lack of foundation. At meron din po tayo naka-flash sa screen. Sabi po ni kakolab Eileen, because of the unfamiliar words. And kakolab Steffi said po, poor vocabulary.
So these are very important and very correct answers. And that's the reason why part of the ARAL series was to focus on vocabulary. Yes, our experience and research will validate that poor vocabulary is associated with poor reading comprehension. But to add to your knowledge about the relationship of vocabulary and comprehension, the most accurate statement would be good vocabulary is necessary. It is necessary for good comprehension, but it is not sufficient. So, ang ibig sabihin nun, mga kakolab, oo, kailangan nandoon ang mabuting talasalitaan, ang kanilang kaalaman sa mga salita, their knowledge of word meanings, but vocabulary isn't enough. It's not to downplay the importance of vocabulary, but to highlight that comprehension is such a complex process that it requires so many other things.
Yes, Teacher Vic. Actually, some of the answers of our kakolab highlight that vocabulary is not enough. Marami pa po. Kaya po sabi dito ni kakolab Joanne, because the foundational skills in reading are not developed well and foundational skills are too many to mention right now. Guillermo de Ocampo po from kakolab, not ready. And someone also said they also lack interest in reading, especially English texts.
Yes, it's curious, and then it's very good to highlight that teachers are thinking of the concept of readiness. Okay, the idea that there are stages in development wherein students can become expected to process text, because texts are written for a specific group of children in mind. So sometimes we may ask students to read texts that they are not ready for, and that can lead to problems in comprehension. Thank you very much for your engagement, for thinking about it. I do encourage you to always be thinking throughout this entire process, because thinking is at the heart of comprehension. So before we talk about the process of comprehension, and then to add to what you have been thinking about the difficulties that students are having with comprehension, I would like to present the idea that comprehension will happen in stages. So there are very clear signs of proficiency at different points in this entire process, which are marked with different stages. So comprehension grows in stages, from struggling with basic reading towards something that is truly meaningful, that truly is connecting at the personal level. So these stages begin with this. There would be a stage, for a reader wherein um, it is difficult to proceed because they cannot read the words correctly. So this emphasizes the importance of the very first topic that you had in the oral series, which focused on word decoding, word reading, including the foundational and the prerequisite skill of phonological and phonemic awareness. So it really is like common sense, right? Um, if you cannot read the words correctly, you won't be able to access what it means, and then you cannot build the meaning across words in a text. So it begins with difficulty decoding the text, and then it's hard to move on if this area of this set of difficulties are not going to be addressed or removed. Now, from stage two, let's say um, the student receives the kind of instruction that they need to allow them to read words well, then they can move towards a higher stage in comprehension, wherein they will be able to understand that there are facts in the story or in the text, and then they can identify them. But because there is no connection, because there's no connection to what they have read, it's not going to be retained. It's not going to make any meaning, and it's not going to be remembered. So at this point, let's think about the process of memory. You remember things that are important. Really remember things that have made connections to what you already know. Unless it makes any connection to anything that you already know, it's not going to stay. It's just going to stay for a while and then disappear. So comprehension will not happen. what we'd like to do, what we'd like to happen is that they move up wherein the words make sense as they are until they see connections within the words, within the text. And then when you hear the phrase reading between the lines or read between the lines, what it actually means to what it actually means is that all these words and all these ideas that are scattered throughout the text are there for a reason. There is a meaningful link between and among these words. So the text will mean bigger than the words. So it is at the point wherein it makes sense to you. So therefore, it's easier to think about and it's easier to remember. And then we go higher. When you read something, you understand it. And then if it is a meaningful text at a level that is making connections to your experiences, to your knowledge, what you tend to do is that you will relate to it emotionally, that you will say, I like this. um, I like this but not that much, or this made me sad, or this made me happy, or this worries me. No, when you read something from a written text, from a printed text, or from digital text, and then you think about it the whole day because it made such a connection with you. So from stage 3 towards stage 4, we're now looking at levels of proficiency that would be considered um, positive, something that we would like our students to have because they have moved past the difficulty of um, getting to read the words right. And then, of course, there is that highest stage wherein you read it, you understand it, and then because it is powerful and because it is meaningful, you keep thinking about it. Paulit-ulit mo siyang pinag-iisipan. Lalo na kung halimbawa, kung ikaw ay tao na paladasal o importante sa iyo ang spiritual na bahagi ng buhay mo at nakabasa ka ng isang um, magandang magandang uh, passage from the Bible. So talagang pinag-iisipan mo siya. At hindi lang siya pinag-iisipan, kundi iniisip mo paano ko siya isa sa buhay. So nangyayari siya hindi lamang sa mga spiritual text, kundi sa mga teksto na ginagamit mo sa trabaho mo, teksto na ginagamit mo sa pang-araw-araw mong buhay. May mga nababasa ka na talagang nagiiwan, no? Nagiiwan ng isang marka sa iyong kaisipan. Kaya paulit-ulit mo siyang pag-iisipan at hinahanapan mo siya ng puwang sa buhay mo kung paano mo siya gagamitin. So this would be the highest stage wherein text would be fully understood, and then the text will become integrated with how we think, which is what we want to happen for all our students. That when they read something, they can choose because they understood it. They can choose to consider its importance. And then once they have chosen that it is really important, it can become pivotal in their lives. Pero kung may reading difficulty ka, nasa stage 1 ka pa lang, parang wala ka ng choice, di ba? Kahit nakaganda-ganda ng text na binigay sa'yo, hindi mo siya maproseso, hindi mo siya mabasa. Kaya siya nakakalungkot. Okay. So ito yung mga stages na kailangan nating iniisip, no? Parang kumusta kaya yung pagbabasa ng mga estudyante ko? Nakakasagabal ba yung pagbabasa? Nakakasagabal ba yung hindi nila makita yung connection ng mga salita? Nakakasagabal ba na hindi sila makakonekta nun sa nalalaman nila, yung mga kaisipan nila dun sa kanilang binabasa? Para hanggat maaari, lahat ng ating mga mag-aaral ay aabot ng stage 5. Pero bago ko umalis sa topic na to, may isang paalala lang ako. Hindi hindi static o hindi nagbabago yung placement mo sa stages. Kung halimbawa ikaw ay grade 4 at maayos ka namang estudyante, ibig sabihin na sa iyo yung mga kakayahan, na sa iyo yung mga kaalaman, posible ka na sa stage 5 kung ang binabasa mo ay teksto pang grade 4. Pero pag pinagbasa kita ng teksto pang grade 8, siguro bababa ka ng stage 1, no? So kaya tayo ay no, kaya natin kailangan na dynamic ang pag-iisip natin kung saan natin ipe-place ang mga bata. Kasi pag nagbago ng taon niya, nagbabago yung expectation, no? Ganon din sa atin, no, sa ating mga adults, no? Pwedeng may teksto na yung lagi mong binabasa, nasa stage 5 ka. Kung halimbawa mahilig ka sa pocketbook, nasa stage 5 ka kapag nagbabasa ka. Pero pag binigyan ka ng isang teksto na isang libro na hindi masyadong familiar, pwedeng bumaba yung level mo, no? At okay lang 'yon. So ibig sabihin, aralin mo siya, no? At iangat mo yung sarili mo. So ito ang mga stages of reading proficiency in comprehension. So moving towards our main topic within this first session, let's know, I know we are all adults, but many of you and many of us have enjoyed fairy tales when we were younger, and sometimes we kept enjoying them even though we have become older um, as we are now. Okay. We all know this story. Tama ba mga collab? Anong kwento to? Cinderella. Tama ba? Uh, Tangled. O masyado na kayong nasa Frozen generation kasi kami lang yung nakakakilala sa kanya. Sino sila? Sino siya? Sirit ba? Sirit. Siya si Snow White. At sino yung uh, babaeng katabi niya? Tama si uh, kakolab na si Griselda. No? Siya si Snow White. At yung kasama niya ay yung kanyang wicked stepmother. Talagang may description, no? Wicked stepmother. Pasintabi sa lahat ng mga stepmothers, hindi lahat ng stepmother ay wicked, no? Ito yung gusto kong simulan natin kasi ito yung sa tingin ko yung kwento na alam nating lahat. At for different people, you might have been affected by this story in different ways. And then let's see how we remember the story by looking at these questions. First, what did the queen give Snow White to eat? Okay. It was a fruit, right? Why did the queen give Snow White the apple? Ayan na yung sagot. How does this event affect what happens next? What lesson can we learn and apply to life? Now, when you think about these questions, you are already moving towards the important ideas and processes of reading comprehension. No? When you transact with these questions from question 1, and then when you know the answer, yes, okay, it was an apple. Hindi siya papaya, hindi siya saging. This was an apple. And then not just an ordinary apple, but a beautiful red apple that is so enticing to eat. And then, but why did the queen give Snow White that apple? What was her intention? Was she being generous? What was the relationship between Snow White and the queen? And then does that have something to do with the action of giving Snow White the apple? Okay, what did the queen want to happen? And then, yeah, so mabilis si kakolab na si Preciosa Hore, no? Na yes, to poison her. Now, when you think about, the queen ano niya yun eh, stepdaughter niya yun eh. Bakit niya gustong patayin, di ba? And then as we know the story, it all boils down to the queen wanting to eliminate Snow White because according to the mirror, Snow White was the fairest of them all. Okay. So question 3, we all know that Snow White, because she was a kind person, and then it was an old lady. She didn't know that the old lady was just disguised as the queen. She took the apple because she was, she trusted her. She trusted the old woman that she would not mean anything harmful. It was a generous offer of a fruit, and then the the old woman disguised as the queen was so convincing. Take a bite of this apple. Masarap to, 'di ba? Yan, hindi siya Fuji, no? Hindi siya Fuji apple. Talagang pulang-pula ito. Yan. So kagat naman si Snow White. And we knew what happened, right? We knew what happened. She got poisoned. She fell into a deep sleep, and then the queen thought that she was able to kill her and that she would become the fairest of them all. But that it didn't happen that way. And then the lesson that we can learn is the lesson not to eat apples. Hindi, di ba? Is the lesson not to trust old women? Hindi rin. Hindi rin siya yung uh, sagot, no? So sabi ni Kakolab na Elaine, um, it's jealousy. And then if you think about it in light of question number 4, jealousy will not lead you to anything good, right? So the lesson that we learn here can be varied depending on your perspective, but it should be within, should be around the idea that, you know, bad people, jealousy leads to destruction. Yes. Okay. Pakisabi yan sa mga sa mga may asawa dito. Okay, tandaan natin. Jealousy leads to destruction. Sabi ni ang kakolab na um, Miss Sebial, no? All right. So, pag umabot ka sa question number 4, pag-iisipan mo siya, di ba? Parang, oo nga, kapag masyado kang concerned sa physical na beauty at um, kinaiinggitan mo, no? Kinaiinggitan mo yung iba na pwedeng mas maganda sa iyo. Hindi siya hindi siya nakakatulong. Kaya nga tayo winarningan ng 10 commandments, di ba? Kapag nag-covet ka. Coveting pa lang mali na eh. Mas lalo pa kapag inagaw mo siya. All right. So, thinking about this, the story of Snow White is meaningful to many of us, if not to all of us, because it makes sense, because it is structured in a format that is familiar. We know it is a fairy tale, and then we know that most fairy tales should end happily ever after. And then we know that most fairy tales will teach us an important lesson in life. So that's why they are worth telling. And that's why they survive. No? These stories survive through generations hanggang na-pick up siya ni Walt Disney at ginawa siyang pelikula. At ginawa pa siya ng live action. No? So these stories are important. These stories are meaningful. And then we know personally that they are meaningful to us. So keep that in mind as we talk about what reading comprehension is. We know that reading comprehension is more than knowing what happened. The story Snow White is not just about knowing her name, knowing that there's an apple, that knowing there are 7 dwarves, not 6 but 7, that there is an old lady, that there's a witch. It's more than that. No, it is understanding why those things happen. Why did she leave the castle? why did the dwarfs, knowing that Snow White was a stranger, why did they let her in? What was driving the queen? What was driving her to do all of those things that she did? And then do we see that all of those things that are happening are making sense? They're making sense that Snow White will do what she did, the queen will do what she did because they're expected to, because of the role that they have in the story that we're reading. It is reading comprehension. It is being able to understand how characters feel and then think about their intention. This is the reason why reading is also a good vehicle for developing good values, because through reading um, we are able to empathize better because we see how characters feel, we see how they think, and then so that allows us to feel the pains of others, no? And then reading comprehension is finding these lessons. Can be a real clear lesson, it can be an important concept, and then how does it link to our lives? And then that last part, linking it to our lives, no? Making what we read part of what we know and part of what we understand is the most important point of what reading comprehension is. But how do we get there? So we talk about this would be what I intend to cover. There are a lot more things to understand about reading comprehension, and then I hope this is a good start for everybody. We already talked about the stages of reading ability. When we talked about those 5 stages wherein we identify that from the earlier stages, what are the difficulties that will pose as a barrier to understanding. And then as we remove the barriers, we see what capabilities learners can have in terms of reading comprehension. They begin to see meaning, they begin to infer, they begin to make connection, they begin to reflect. So those are the stages. And then we talk about reading, understanding reading comprehension some more. We talk about levels of comprehension in a more structured way. Then we situate what we have been learning later into actual stories. And then from that understanding, we will now try to have a stronger structure on how we formulate the questions, how we ask the questions so that the questions become powerful tools in developing comprehension. So in this presentation this morning, I know many of you might have thought of, we ask questions because we want to test comprehension. That's true. But the point that I will drive, when we reach that point of questions, is that questions are the best way. Asking questions is the best way to teach comprehension. So that is our frame of mind. Questions not as assessment, but question as instruction, questions as teaching. All right. So let's think about reading comprehension. There's so many things, there's so many ways to define, to describe what reading comprehension is. But I would like to simplify a lot of that thinking in terms of looking at comprehension as, being made up of just 2 components, right? Okay, there are 2 components in reading comprehension. The first one is product. Okay, product. So pag sinabi nating product, binasa mo, let's say, hindi mo pinanood yung pelikula ni Snow White, hindi mo pinanood yung cartoons, o hindi mo pinanood yung live action, kundi binasa mo sa libro. Okay? So pag binasa mo sa libro, yung kwento na Snow White, pagkatapos may nakausap ka, tapos kinuwento mo sa kanya, alam mo, may nabasa akong kwento, ang ganda. Ang title niya, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Pagkatapos, kinuwento mo siya. Kaya mo siya nakwento kasi nagkaroon ng representation yung kwentong binasa mo sa isip mo at naging version mo yon. So kung anong binasa mo at nasa isip mo na siya yung produkto ng comprehension. Pwede siyang kwento, pwede siyang talinhaga sa Biblia, pwede siyang recipe, pwede siyang resibo, pwede siyang memorandum galing sa iyong superior, pwedeng sulat ng boyfriend mo o sulat ng mahal mo sa buhay. Kapag binaba mo na yung sulat at pinag-isipan mo, ito yung mga sinabi niya sa akin. Yung mga naalala mong sinabi niya sa iyo mula sa liham niya, ito ang tinutukoy na produkto. No, these are the products of comprehension. It's what the reader understands. So this product can also be called as representation. And then, pero hindi mangyayari 'yon, no? Kasi kung halimbawa meron kang teksto, hindi naman siya hindi naman siya ida-download sa utak mo. 'Di ba? Hindi mo naman siya kakainin at ngunguyain at ida-digest para maintindihan mo siya. Meron kang gagawin. At kasama dun sa mga gagawin mo, yung mga pinag-usapan nyo with Teacher Daisy at ni Teacher Ann, na ang teksto ay gawa sa mga salitang nasusulat. They're all made up of written words. So you read them. From the visual, it becomes a set of sounds, and then that becomes recognizable by your brain, and then they mean something and you put it together. And then you do all these other wonderful things in your brain so that you can create the product. But the things that you do would be the process of comprehension. So you can think about, reading comprehension is equal to product times process. So kung walang product, siyempre, wala ring comprehension. Kung walang process, wala ring comprehension. Now, to do it in more detail, the product of reading comprehension, you know that reading comprehension is successful when the reader has a clear, connected understanding of the text. And then that clear understanding, the word that we use there is coherent. No? Kapag halimbawa, balik tayo kay Snow White, kapag halimbawa tinanong, kwento mo sa akin yung Snow White, si Snow White, nakatulog siya ng matagal, tapos ginising lang siya dahil hinalikan siya. Pagkatapos, yung witch doon naging dragon. Maling kwento ka. No? Hindi coherent. No? Or, kwento mo nga sa akin yung Snow White, mabait naman yung witch. No? Mabait naman yung babae. So, hindi, hindi tugma. So, importante yung pagtugma, yung clear connection. And then, that happens because the facts and ideas are linked together in a meaningful whole. For that whole, for that linking to happen, there has to be links. Because they are made up of so many words and so many terms and so many names or objects or facts, but they have to have clear links. So you have two kinds of links, referential links and then causal links. Pag sinabi nating referential links, you have Snow White, you have the Queen, ano yung link nila? 'Di ba? May relationship si Snow White tsaka yung Queen. So that is your referential link. And then yung fact that the Queen wanted to become fairest of them all, and then the mirror told her she's not the fairest of them all. And then she decided to hunt down Snow White. Kita mo na merong malinaw na cause at malinaw na effect on that character. So there are causal links, the reason why things happen. So there are referential links, the links, the relationships across the facts. And then if it's a story, it would be the links between the characters, the setting, and then the causal links would be what drives the plot, the reason why things happen, the reason why characters behave in very particular way. So these are your relations and these are your coherence. Now, going back to the idea of the processes or the process of reading comprehension, the things that you do. Okay, for example, if you read a recipe, humingi ka ng recipe dun sa iyong kaibigan para sa mechado, no? Okay, pahingi nga ng recipe ng mechado. So, naiintindihan mo na yung simula ng recipe mo ay listahan ng 'di ba, ng ingredients. may listahan ka ng ingredients. Pagkatapos yung 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 after the ingredients would be the different steps that you will have to take. And then in each sentence of those steps, there are clear verbs. Stir, cut, mix, boil, saute. Lahat yon, di ba? Very clear directions. So, kapag ikaw ay matagal ka nang nagbabasa ng recipe, a lot of the kind of thinking you have to do will be automatic because you have been doing it for so long and you have read so many recipes. You understand the pattern of recipes. You understand what you need to do and what you need to be thinking and how you need to be thinking to be able to do it. But if you're reading like a new kind of text, na medyo kailangan tumigil ka at pag-isipan mo yung kailangan mong gawin. So it will require effort. So the two kinds of processes while reading will be automatic, the things that you do without thinking because you're used to it, and a strategic one that you know you have to stop, you have to seriously think about, and you have to pay attention to. Now, the good thing about this relationship is that the things that you do strategically can become automatic if you do it for repeatedly. So ito yung ito yung dito tayo papasok bilang teacher. Yung pagtuturo mo ng reading comprehension skill. For some of them, they will begin to explore it and then to get used to it. And then kaya tayo nagbibigay ng maraming practice sa mga strategies na tinuturo mo sa mga bata para maging automatic sa kanila. Halimbawa, ang strategy of underlining your text or annotating your text is a strategy. And then tuturo mo bakit kailangan nag-annotate ng text kasi magandang idea na kapag may several paragraphs yung text mo, for each paragraph, identify the main idea, underline it. And then, so it's strategic, you teach them and they try to follow you. If they do it all the time, they will do it automatically. And then that becomes their own process for reading comprehension. Now, going back to the idea of what do you get from reading? What you get is simply called representation. You read text and then you have your own version in your head. So that is your representation of what you have read. But the representation is not just one kind of representation. It can be 4 different levels of comprehension. And then it begins with simple representation towards more complex, more individualized, and more personalized level of representation. So if you remember, these are the questions that we ask you. Notice that the questions are not the same in terms of what kind of answer the question is seeking. Iba-iba, di ba? And it's not always because of the kind of questioning word you use. Hindi ibig sabihin, what lagi siyang mababa. No? Hindi siya laging ganon. No? Kailangan nating mas pag-iisipan pa yung structure ng question natin. So if these are the questions that we ask, and then we said that there are different levels of representation. Meron kang surface, just knowing that it says surface, malamang ano lang to, no? Yung agad-agad mong nakikita. Meron kang next level, which is propositional. Na siguro, this has something to do with ideas because a proposition is an idea. And then discourse is yung secret word for the day. Discourse ay pattern of saying things, no? And then situation wherein you put something in your own context or your own situation. So with those very basic description, let's try this. Yung question number 1, what do you think it is? Why did the queen give Snow White the apple? What would be your answer? What kind of question? What level kaya yung ano? Why did the queen give Snow White the apple? And then the next question, what lesson can we learn that apply to life? What kind of question can that be? What level of comprehension can that be? And so with the two other questions. Kakahiyaan ba tayo sa ating pagsagot? Ayan. B. B yung ano? Aling question yan? 1B. Okay. 1B kasi nagtatanong siya ng dahilan ng queen. So it must be asking for a reason. Okay? Tinakula lang kay kakolab na si Marilyn. 2D. 2D, what lesson? So you are situating the story to a person's life. And then 3C, how does this event affect? Meron kang, how does this affect the next event? So ibig sabihin, we're following a pattern. So that's why it must be discourse. And then what did the queen give Snow White to eat? An apple. And you have to get it right. No, it's that fact. An apple is at the surface because it's just there. The queen gave Snow White an apple to eat, but it was poisoned apple. All right. Thank you very much, mga kakolab, for your engagement. So again, these are the questions, and these are the levels where the questions belong. What did the queen give Snow White to eat? It is at the surface level. Let's just try to understand these terms based on what terms are used to name them. It's at the surface. You see them at the surface. And then why did the queen give Snow White the apple? We're looking for reasons. We're looking for ideas and relationships of ideas. What was the queen concerned about? And then how do we know that those were the concerns of the queen? And then that answers the question, why did she give Snow White the apple? Not because she loved her, not because she was doing her a favor, but because she wanted to harm her because of her vanity and her jealousy. Discourse, we know stories happen in sequence. And then because we know this is a fairy tale and it's a story for children, we kind of expect, no, we kind of expect that even though Snow White bites into the apple, she's not gonna die. Something good will happen to her because good must be rewarded and then evil must be destroyed, no, or they will not triumph. That's part of our understanding of how stories work. Kaya sa discourse. And then situation, how do you situate the knowledge to yourself? No? What does it now mean to you? Okay. In detail, surface, this is memory for the actual words and phrasing used in the text. It's what you remember from the text, the actual words and how they were said. It's just those words: apple, dwarf, queen, Snow White. Okay. And then I know that you are observing in a lot of your students that they can only function at this level. And then when they only function at this level, you know that they are not understanding. Something has to be done to get them to process text at a higher level. Next is propositional. This is the understanding of the ideas that connect the words together, not just for individually, but across. No, so you have two kinds, no, of propositions: a simple proposition and a more complex proposition. And then what actually happens is that you put together all these facts and all these words, and you find them across the text, and you put them, you build them up. And this is the reason why sometimes we call, when we reach this level of representation, or we reach this level of comprehension, that it becomes, we call it inference. Um, Inference will be defined as, it's your ability to understand what was not directly said, but it also means it is your ability to connect all these words and all these facts that are scattered across the story. No, so you have, let's say, in a story, a character is being talked about, but not all the character's description or characteristics are found at the beginning. They can be scattered across text, and you put them together. So that's why some propositions are easy, are simple, but some propositions can be a little bit more complex. And then we talk about the discourse level. When you say discourse, this would be patterns of how we use language. You have the microstructure, and then it can just be the structure of a sentence. So for example, if you had the sentence, they went into the nerd link. Okay, listen to me again. They went into the nerd link. Have you ever heard the word nerd link before? Hindi, di ba? Kasi we just made it up. Pero you somehow know that it has to be a place. Because you don't know what nerd link means, but you know it's a place because of the structure of the sentence. They went into the. After that, if it's a blank, you know that what should be written in the blank must be a word that pertains to a place. But the macro structure would be the bigger structure of text. Now, going back to our favorite fairy tale, it's a fairy tale, and the fairy tale is a structure. It is a structure. It is a form of fiction that involves some magic. Pag walang magic, walang fairy tale. Kaya essential yon eh. So may magic. Pagkatapos that kind of a fairy tale, it is meant for children because it's the children who loves fairy tale most. And because it is for children, it has to end well. Lagi siyang and they lived happily ever after. Kapag gagawa ka ngayon ng pelikula at nasa format siya, nasa macro structure ka ng fairy tale, dapat maganda yung ending. Hindi pwedeng mamamatay yung bida. Hindi pwedeng, halimbawa, si Sleeping Beauty, hindi na siya nagising. O si Cinderella, hindi na siya nahanap ng prince. Hindi yun pwede in the macro structure of a fairy tale. Ganon din sa ibang structures. Kapag detective story yan, alam mong may mamamatay. At alam mo, the point of the story is to find out sino yung pumatay. Di ba? Yun lang naman yun. Yun ang macro structure. So, it is important to understand the text also at the level of the structure because it helps you. It helps you understand things better because you understand the structure of the text that you're reading. And then finally, the deepest level of understanding, it is at the situation level, wherein the information, you combine it with your knowledge. And it is when what you have read become yours. So it is when you are able to tell a story in your own words and the story remains the same because it has become part of you. And then dito ka na magsisimula, no? Okay, I take the story, I liked it, I connect with it, and then you can take it forward and say, I'm going to live by some of these ideas. So kung halimbawa, ano ka talaga, na-move ka talaga nung bata ka doon sa story ni Snow White, siguro ikaw yung tao ngayon na hindi ka pala inggit, no? Hindi ka inggitera o hindi ka inggitero o hindi ganun ka-importante sa iyo yung panlabas na anyo. na mas importante yung pangloob na anyo, kung ano yung ugali mo, rather than your beauty. No? So ito yung understanding at this level. Okay, now let's try applying our knowledge, no, of these 4 levels of comprehension to 2 stories that we can ask young children to read. So let's take this first story, Mim's Pet. Jed is a cat. Mim is a kid. She has a dog. The dog is Tom. Run, Tom, run. Tom can see Jed. Jed is under the lid. Tom led Mim to see Jed. Can Mim pat the cat? Tom and Jed run in the mud. They are wet. They have fun. So some of us will say, siguro to lahat surface. Kasi pambata siya eh. So kasi yung mga bata, hindi naman yan kaya ng mas malalim na comprehension. So kaya yon na ang mga kwentong pambata, hindi yan lumalalim. Walang lalim dito, walang situation dito. Kasi ano lang yan eh, parang simple-simple lang yan eh. No? So dun tayo nagkakamali. No? Ang pagbabasa kahit sa pinakamataas na antas ay kayang gawin ng mga bata basta maglalagay tayo ng sapat na gabay. Okay, so tingnan natin across all the levels. Naalala natin? Okay. Naalala natin na meron tayong surface level. Recalls the exact words or phrases from the text. The reader at this level, they might remember and repeat lines from the story, especially if read aloud or memorized. No? There is no analysis. Just the thinking required here is to remember. No? Kapag binasa mo yung kwento at hindi naman nila binabasa yung kwento, wala silang copy ng kwento, to do surface level, what the reader needs to do is to remember what they heard. But kung hawak nila yung text, what they need to do is to locate the information. Locate lang. So hindi siya, walang analysis, di ba? Walang pag-iisip ng relasyon. So here, Jed is a cat. Kasi sinabi yun sa kwento. Mim is a kid. Sinabi yun sa kwento. Run, Tom, run. Sinabi yun sa kwento. Pero may relasyon ba si Jed kay Mim? May relasyon ba si Tom kay Jed tsaka kay Mim? Wala. So kapag yung bata, nandito siya sa level na yan, yan lang yung maalala niya. Pag nag-recitation ka, ito lang yung kaya niyang sagutin. Pero pag tinanong mo, sinong may-ari kay Jed? Hindi niya alam. No? Yon. Propositional, remember that at this level, we're talking about relationships. At this level, the reader understands what happened in each sentence and can retell the story using their own words because they understand the relationships. And here are your relationships. The Jed is a cat. The Mim is a kid. Mim has a dog. The dog is Tom. And then what Tom did is that he saw Jed. So there is now that relationship across these words. No? Hindi na siya separate individual words. And then to reach a higher, to process a more complex form of proposition, you can end up with, the reader can end up with, na even though Jed is hiding under the lid, Tom helps Mim find him. No, meron ng relasyon si Jed kay Tom, tsaka dun sa pusang nagtatago. Kay Tom, the dog, Jed the cat, and kay Mim who owns them. No? At may nangyari, no, na nagtago yung pusa. So kahit nagtago siya, nahanap pa rin siya. At ang importante doon, at ginusto nilang hanapin siya, di ba? So may nangyayari at the propositional level, may naiintindihan ng bata na may nangyayari sa kwento, no? At kaya pa natin siyang taasan, kaya pa siyang umakyat. At the discourse level, alam natin na meron tong di ba? Meron siyang malino na simula, meron siyang gitna, at meron siyang katapusan. At dapat yung tapos niya, may mare-resolve dun sa tapos ng kwento. That it ends clearly and it ends sensibly. parang it makes sense. The ending makes sense. Okay? So, at the microstructure, what the reader can now understand at this level would be that si Mim has a dog named Tom. All right? Tom chases Jed the cat who hides under the lid. So, meron kang intindi ngayon na ito ang format, no? Ito yung format ng sentence para sabihin kung ano nangyayari dun sa event na yan in the story. Tom chases Jed the cat, and then the cat hid under the lid of a box, no? And then Tom leads Mim to find Jed. Na meron kang inaasahan, na merong, kasi dito nakikita mo na buo yung mga pangungusap, di ba? Tapos malilinaw yung mga verbs. Kaya malakas ang connection dapat ng pagtuturo ng grammar at pagtuturo ng reading comprehension para naiintindihan ng bata na kaya pala ako nag-aaral ng verbs, di ba? Kasi siya yung action. Pagkatapos yung mga nouns mo, merong pinagmumulan ng action at merong nagre-receive ng action. Okay? So the animals run together in the mud and get wet. Yan. Ang macro structure nito, na alam natin na it's a story about playfulness and discovery. Na hindi mo aasahan na sasaktan ni Mim yung kanyang mga alaga. Kasi hindi siya consistent doon sa structure ng kwento. So nakakatulong yung expectation mo, yung anticipation mo of what the story can be. No, hindi mo aasahan na ay nagtago yung pusa o pabayaan natin siya. Kasi ang ini-establish niya, 'di ba? Parang may batang babae tapos meron siyang pets, pagkatapos naglalaro-laro silang ganyan, naging bahagi, no? Naging bahagi yung action nila doon sa mga laro nila. Pero importante na alam mo na masayang kwento to dapat, 'di ba? Na involving playing with your pets. Yan. And then papasok tayo ngayon dun sa exciting part. The exciting part ay the situation model kung saan magiging akin yung realization at yung fun, no? Tapos tandaan natin yung reading hindi laging hindi laging realization of an important idea. It can also be the recognition of something that is joyful and fun and playful, di ba? Pwede rin 'yon, pwede rin siyang situation, and then it can evoke a lot of meaning and memory from you. So the reader might think, I tried to do this before. I tried to catch a pet hiding before. It's fun but messy to play in the mud. Yeah, I tried that once when I was a child, and then now I'm grown up. I wish I could play in the mud again. Or Tom and Jed's play reminds me of my pets. Yung number one, feel ko yan. Kasi I have 8 cats and I am protective of my cats. I don't want them to mingle with the other cats outside the house. So when they go out, we really look for our cats. So lahat kami, ko, yung asawa ko, yung dalawang anak ko, talagang hinahanap namin yung pusa, no? Because we want to keep them safe. So may mga ganong evocation. Now, if it's true for an English story, it's also true for a Filipino story. But before that, ito yung listahan of the levels, what the reader does for each level, and example from the story. So clearly, kita natin na what the reader does is the process. What representation is received, that is the product. So we do it at different levels, from the surface to propositional to discourse to situation. So ibig sabihin na nito na nagbabago yung kailangan mong pag-iisip depending on the kind of level that you are addressing. So dapat iniisip natin yun bilang teacher. Kung halimbawa gusto kong dalhin kita hanggang situational, hanggang situation model, ganito kita i-engage, ganito kita kakausapin para magabayan ko yung pag-iisip mo at abutin mo yung situation model. Hindi lang tayo titigil sa surface. No? Alright. Ito yung Filipino, kwento sa Filipino na aking sinulat. Si Mio at ang Matching. Okay. Si Mio ay galing sa bahay ni Mila. Isasama siya ng ama sa kakahuyan. Isang matching ang kanyang nakita. Hawak nitong mangga, maasim talaga. Ang matching ay nawala ng saya. Sa asim ng mangga ay napaismid siya. Sa mangga, ito ay hindi sumaya. So, isipan ninyo, ano kaya mga magandang tanong dito para sa iba't ibang levels of comprehension? Okay, sulat-sulat nyo lang yan sa inyong mga notebook. Sa unang antas, yung panlabas o pangibabaw na antas or surface level, ang focus natin dito ay pagkilala at pagsaulo ng mga salita at pahayag mula sa kwento. No? Ang naaalala ng mambabasa ay yung aktual na salita. Isang matching ang kanya nakita. Nakasulat talaga yon. No? Sa mangga, ito ay hindi sumaya. Alright, okay. Tandaan din natin, no? Hindi ibig sabihin surface level, hindi siya importante. No? Kasi nagkaroon tayo ng ganong dichotomy na high order thinking skill is good, low order thinking skill is bad. Kailangan mong tanggalin yun. No? Kailangan mong tanggalin mo yung ganong mindset. Kasi kailangan mo kasi yung facts eh. No? Kailangan mo yung facts para ma-process mo siya at a higher level of representation. So wala tayong good and bad. No? They're just levels. And then it's important to recognize them, what levels they are, para i-guide niya tayo paano natin siya tutulungan yung mga bata i-achieve yung mga levels na yon. No? Wala tayong good and bad. Sa pangalawang antas, yung propositional, na ang hinihingi natin dito ay pag-unawa sa bawat aksyon o idea sa kwento. Naghahanap na tayo ng relasyon ng mga salita. Anong relasyon ni Mio dun sa mangga? Diba? Anong relasyon dun sa lugar? Anong relasyon nung lasa ng mangga? At anong naging epekto nung lasa ng manggang na yon dun sa matching? So, ito yung mga halimbawa ng propositional na level. So nakakita siya ng matching na may hawak na mangga. Alright. 'Di ba? Parang wow. Ikaw kaya 'yon? Naglalakad ka lang, nakakita ka ng matching. Nasa lubong mo. So ano yung impact ng kwento na 'yon, no? Tapos at iba pang mga idea. So kapag successful yung reader, gets na to na may mga nangyayari doon sa kwento. No? At importante yung mga pangyayaring 'yon. Sa diskurso, nakikita ng mambabasa ang daloy ng pangyayari. Ang kwento lagi siyang merong simula, gitna, at wakas. Tapos meron tayong expectations kung anong nangyayari sa simula. Meron tayong expectation kung anong nangyayari sa gitna. At meron tayong expectation na nangyayari sa panghuli o sa dulo, no, at wakas ng kwento. Kahit gaano kahaba yung nobela mo, meron pa rin yang simula, gitna, at wakas. At karaniwang sequence, yan ang sequence na yan. Beginning, middle, and end. Bihira naman yun nagsisimula sa gitna. Pero meron mga ganong kwento. So, ang pag-unawa sa kabuuang estruktura ng kwento. Tulad nito, sa kwento ni Mio, meron siyang malinaw na simula, meron siyang malinaw na gitna, at meron siyang malinaw na wakas. At meron silang connection. Sequential connection from one to the next. So, importante yung nakakatulong yan sa pag-develop ng reading comprehension ng ating mga estudyante. At yung situation model o modelo ng sitwasyon kung saan ang importante dito ay malalim ng pag-unawa, nagbibigay na ang mambabasa ng emosyonal at personal na koneksyon sa kanyang binasa. Na, okay, ito yung pwede kong kunin. Ito yung direktang kilala ko bilang isang mambabasa. Alam ko ang karanasan ng kumain ng mangga na maasim. 'Di ba? May mga taong gusto yung maasim, may taong ayaw yung maasim. May mga tao na nakikita pa lang yung mangga nang tumitigas na yung kanilang mga panga. 'Di ba? Dahil meron silang karanasan doon. At dito siguro makaka-relate yung bata. Tandaan natin pambata yung kwento na bakit ganun ang reaksyon ng matching? Kasi naiintindihan ko yung matching kasi naalala ko nang kumain ako ng kamyas, ganyan-ganyan. So kaya pag umabot ka doon, makahulugan talaga yung kwento. Makahulugan yung proseso ng pagbabasa. At ito yung mga kwento natin. Ito yung mga antas ng pag-unawa mula sa surface, papuntang propositional, papuntang diskurso, papuntang modelo ng sitwasyon. So nakikita natin na iba-iba talaga yung kailangan na poproseso ng bata sa iba't ibang antas, at sana lahat tayo ay magkaisa na tulungan sila na magsimula sa surface, papuntang propositional, papuntang discourse, papuntang situation. Okay, ngayon, alam natin, no, sa puntong ito, meron tayong iba't ibang levels ng representation. Yung mismong mismong topic natin na questions. Kanina sinimulan ko na kaya tayo nagtatanong, hindi dahil lagi na gusto mong suriin o gusto mong i-test, no? Gusto mong malaman kung naintindihan nila yung kwento. Dito, ang mindset natin, we are asking questions because we are using the question to train how they will think about what they're reading. Okay? We're using the questions as a way to teach comprehension and not just to test it. So how do we now ask questions to help students understand? And then when we address this question, we are going to use our understanding of the different levels of comprehension. So going back, meron tayong mga tanong sa kwento ng Mim's Pet. What lesson can we learn? Ano yung sagot sa question number 1? Anong klaseng Anong klaseng level? Anong level ng comprehension ang question number 1? Anong klaseng question ang where is Jed hiding? Anong klaseng question ang what is the problem? Anong klaseng question ang how does Tom help Mim? Okay, pag-isipan natin yan. So, pansinin natin, iba-iba yung di ba? Iba-iba yung tina-target ng mga tanong. At meron siyang may direkta siyang relasyon dun sa uri ng representation na magagawa ng isang reader kapag nasagot nila yung question. Kapag nasagot nila yung question 1, what lesson can we learn from Mim, Tom, and Jed? Pag nasagot niya yan ng tama, nagawa niya yung angkop, yung katugma niya na level of comprehension. So anong sagot natin, mga kakolab? Okay, sabi ni Teacher Camargue David, 1, D, situation. Ang number 2 ay 3, surface. Ang number 3 ay C, discourse. Ang number 4 ay B, propositional. Okay, palakpakan natin ang ating mga kakolab na sumagot. Katulad ni Miss Rosemary Luzano din, sumagot din siya. Okay, so tingnan natin, di ba? Kung ito yung tanong, pagkatapos nasagot mo ng tama, what lesson can we learn from Mim, Tom, and Jed? It's okay to have fun in the mud. Kapag nasagot yun ng bata ng tama, ang nagawa niya yung situational, yung situation model. Kapag nasagot niya yung what is the problem in the story, and then na-recognize niya yung ibig sabihin ng salitang problem and answered it correctly, meron siyang awareness of patterns in a text and in a story. That there are problem solution stories and there are problem solution texts. And ganoon din sa propositional. How does Tom help Mim? Kita niya yung relasyon ng anong sinubukang gawin ng dog to help Mim. So the reader is seeing the relationship. So it is, when we ask this question, we actually promote different ways of thinking in a story. So surface level, these are the sample questions because what you're looking for, what you're assisting them to do is to recall. So you have questions that point to these very specific facts and you keep it clear. Who is Jed? Who is Mim's dog? Where is Jed hiding? So these are very pointed questions leading to a specific kind of thinking. So kung handa tayo dyan, matutulungan natin sila. So an additional tip for all of us Kakolab teachers, help them underline. Kasi minsan kung mahaba yung teksto at marami siyang facts, medyo nakakatulong that if you keep tabs on them, no? At the propositional, remember that the goal is to help them understand basic ideas in each sentence or short group of sentences. So sample question. Let's take the first one. What does Tom do when he sees Jed? So in that question, you have two characters, Tom and Jed. And then you are asking, what does Tom do? In relation to what? When he sees Jed. So you are framing the question so that the student or the learner can think about Tom and Jed in that particular instance and see what was the reason for the actions of Tom in relation to Jed. So 'di ba parang inaano mo siya, no, ini-engineer mo yung paano sila mag-isip. Parang you take charge, no, you become very intentional in how you want your students to think. How does Tom help Mim? Nilagay mo, Tom and Mim are there in the same question, but you're asking, anong ginawa ni Tom? No? So, because you're asking these questions, nasasanay sila to think, to look for connections, to look for relationships in the text that they read. Kasi kung ang tanong natin lagi ay puro yung pang surface level, hanggang surface level lang sila. So nakakatulong na tama yung tanong mo para tama yung pag-iisip nila. Okay. Nakakatulong as an additional teaching tip is have students retell the story in 3 to 5 sentences using their own words. Kasi when they use their words and then when you ask them to tell me the story, you are promoting to think for them not just to recite what they remember, but to think about, teacher is asking me to tell the story. So I need to tell a story. Diba? So mapupwera sa silang maghanap ng connection. Then at the discourse level, this is very important that you start training them, especially if your focus is on the narrative, which is a story. A story will always have a definite pattern, beginning, middle, and end. And then there is a problem in the story. Kasi ang boring ng kwentong walang problema, di ba? Na walang nangyayari, walang kailangang action na gawin. And then, kung merong problema, paano siya na-solve? So, kaya ito yung mga questions natin na because you're asking them these kinds of questions, you're forcing their brain to think about the story in terms of there are 3 parts, a beginning, middle, and end. And then, if it is appropriate to the story, highlight the problem. Sino yung may problema in the story? It was the girl who had, very playful pets. So, ano yung solution? Kailangan silang hanapin. So, when we ask these questions, nasasanay sila to think in this way at the level of the discourse. They have to be ready for this. And then, we have to think about discourse across different kinds of text kasi ibang text, iba ang discourse. Ang story is different from a science text. A science text is different from a math text. A science text may be similar to a social studies text, but they will have their differences. Okay, we can use a graphic organizer to help them organize. This is the problem. This is the solution. And then at the situation level, remember the goal is to help them reflect, to think about the emotional meaning or the practical meaning of a story. We want them to think about their own response, their own emotional reflection, their own real life connection. So how would you feel if you were Mim and found Jed under the lid? Kung ikaw si Mim. So this kind of question will help the student not to think about just themselves, but to think about, kung ako yung bata at nawala yung pet ko, anong gagawin ko? No? So it can now lead me to think about past experiences. Now, when I lost my pet, I also did this. And then, what lesson can we learn? Siguro, make sure that they're always inside the house. But yun nga yung fun dun sa story, di ba? Na naglaro yung mga pets niya. Okay. So, for this kind of question, we can help our students write or draw their own answers. Kasi pag nag-draw sila, nanggagaling yun sa sarili nilang perception. And then they can talk about it in small groups or in pairs. Because it's very personal, di ba? And when you realize something personal, sometimes the urge is very strong to share. And then that should be a good thing, and that should be encouraged. And then these are your question types. For surface, who is Mim's dog? Propositional, how does Tom help Mim? Discourse, what is the problem in the story? Situation, have you ever had a pet that liked to hide? Notice how the questions are framed. They are very specific to the kind of thinking that we want them to do. Who is the dog? And then how does Tom help Mim? See, there are two characters. We're looking for what this character 1 did for character 2. So, ibig sabihin, we're forcing them to think about the connection. What is the problem? You force them to think about the pattern in the text para it helps them frame their thinking. And then look at the framing for the situation model question. Have you ever had a pet that liked to hide? So the answer is not from the text, right? It's from your mind. It's from your experience. And then you are forcing the students to draw the story into their own minds, into their own experiences, and making the lesson, the story, the fun their own. Okay, so in another story, these are our questions, and I guess this is so easy na for you. Magiging madali na ito para sa inyo. Bakit hindi natuwa ang matching? Ano ang simula, gitna at wakas ng kwento? Naranasan mo na ba ang matikman ang pagkain hindi mo nagustuhan? Kung niluto yun ng biyenan mo, kailangan magpanggap ka na masarap. Sino ang bida sa kwento? Yun. So ito yung mga di ba? Kita natin na ganito din ang framing ng question to help them think of the story in these different levels. Okay, alam nyo na yung sagot dyan. Okay, going back, surface level, ito yung gusto natin mangyari. Kaya ito yung mga tanong. Sino ang bida sa kwento? Sinabi mismo. Pwede nating tulungan silang ituro ang mga facts o mga ideas tulad din ng pag-underline. At the propositional level, again, the goal is to understand basic ideas. Anong nangyari sa matching matapos kainin ng mangga? Ang salita doon ay napaismid. Hindi nga, umismid nga kayo, mga kakaulab. Diba? O mga tumitikas yung panga dahil maasim. We encourage them to paraphrase. Katulad kanina sa earlier example, we ask them to tell the story, retell the story. For the discourse, we focus on the pattern of the text. That the connections are also determined by the pattern of text. And we can use, again, graphic organizers, problem solution, sequencing of events. Those are very important, helps them remember, helps them process the text that they're reading. And then my favorite level, situational. Situation, reflect, connect to personal ideas or a personal experience and bigger ideas. Kung ikaw si Mio, anong masasabi mo sa matching? Better luck next time. Hindi lahat ng mangga maasim. O hintayin mong mahinog ang mangga para hindi ka na papahamak. Okay, we invite personal stories of tasting things that they don't like, eating something that they don't like, and then ang sarap pag-usapan ito, di ba? Yung mga pagkain ayaw mo. Lalo yung mga bata, ang daming ayaw. Okay. So, going back, questions by type. Kahit sa Filipino, kaya nating gawin ito sa isang malinaw na paraan. Pag-iisipan nating mabuti, anong gusto mong pag-iisip ang kailangan gawin ng mga bata, kaya ka magtatanong in a particular way. Yung tanong mo are so powerful that they can structure, that they can guide how students think. No? Ganon ka-powerful ang tanong, ang questions. No? Minaranasan ka bang katulad sa matching, 'di ba? Pag tinanong ka nun, mapapaisip ka talaga eh. 'Di ba? Kaya hindi dapat puro isang level lang. Kailangan yung mga questions natin ay tumutugma sa lahat ng antas ng comprehension. At maraming salamat. Ang panghuli kong bilin, no, sa topic na to, relax lang tayo sa pag-iisip sa reading comprehension. Hindi siya ganun kahirap. No? Relax lang tayo. Kaya natin yan. Kailangan mo lang iisipin ano yung mga nararanasan mo pag naiintindihan mo ang isang bagay. Pagkatapos, paano mo siya naiintindihan? Anong klaseng pag-intindi yung nagawa mo? Pagkatapos, mula dun sa realization na yon, paano mo na ngayon siya gagawin para sa mga estudyante mo? At para sa session na to, pinag-isipan natin yung kakayahan ng tanong para gabayan ang pag-iisip ng ating mga estudyante. Maraming salamat.